Welcome back, Coastal Seafoods friends. It's been a while, but we are back live today, and we are going to be cooking up some amazing sea scallops, because as you know, we've got those all on feature this week. So I'm going to give people a few minutes to start tuning in, and then we will get to cooking, which is going to be super fun. I've got a nice little side dish to go with these, and it's going to be a good time. We know it's been a while since we've been able to do one of these, but we are back again. So starting next week, we'll probably do some more and see how things go. We appreciate everybody's patience as things have been kind of all over the place lately, as you all know, but we want to be here for our community still. So we're going to keep on keeping on like we do. So we appreciate everybody working through all this. We know we had to close for a couple days, just due to everything that's going on. But again, we're here to support and work with our community in the best way possible, making sure you still have access to beautiful, fresh food. We know that in some parts of town, it's pretty difficult right now still. So we're doing everything we can, and we appreciate you all tuning in, which is why we're gonna show you how to make scallops, doing one of my favorite recipes, which is available on the website. It's very easy, but I'm gonna start by making a little side dish. This comes together pretty fast. I've got some grapeseed oil. You could use some vegetable oil if you wanted to. Just some kind of high heat oil is really nice. And I've got some of this beautiful chorizo here. This is a nice chorizo that we sell. You've probably seen me use this before for other recipes because I like it so much. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the chorizo in and started. And that chorizo, it's full of really well flavored fat. So what I want to happen is I want the fat from the chorizo to leach out into this grapeseed oil. And you're gonna see it's already starting to change color. That oil is gonna become a really nice bright orange as the fat starts to render in this chorizo, which is what we want because that's gonna help us build flavor throughout the rest of the dish. We've got a few other things that's gonna help also kind of bring out some flavor. You know, we're getting into nice weather time, which means corn is gonna be on a lot of menus. So this is a great way to use up some corn. This is just a can of corn that I had, but you could certainly use fresh corn and just cut it off the cob for this sort of thing. That would be completely doable. So to this, I want to add some fresh shallot. So I've got my shallot here. I've got part of it diced, but I'm going to go ahead and do this other one. And I'm just going to kind of slice it. And I want just a pretty fine mince on this. Again, you can do this as rustic as you want. If you wanted to leave it mostly in rings, you could certainly do that. It's sort of up to you. I like any chance I can do like a nice fine mince on something, I tend to go for it because I think it's fun. But, you know, that's why I do things like this. So I'm gonna add my shallots to my chorizo, and I want those to start softening up. You can see, as soon as I put those shallots in, they turn that nice orange color because of that fat from the chorizo, which has got like tons of paprika and stuff in there. So you can see it's already got kind of a nice golden thing going on. That chorizo is starting to render out really nice, which is great. So I'm also to this gonna add a little bit of jalapeno. Again, I've got a little bit pre-diced here, but I'm gonna go ahead and slice this in very small. This isn't gonna add a ton of heat, but just enough to kind of bring all of the flavors together, create a nice level of balance, which is really what we're trying to do here. So give that kind of a nice fine mince. Again, thanks everybody for tuning back in. We really appreciate it. These are fun for us to do, and hopefully they're helpful for you to kind of see how to work with things or give you ideas for, you know, quick little dinners at home. Try to keep these recipes really quick and simple. In goes my jalapeno, like so. Give this a little toss around. Smells amazing already. Again, that chorizo is just beautiful. And to this, I've got some diced red bell pepper. This is gonna add a little sweetness, which again is gonna help kind of create balance overall. We're gonna get some sweetness from that corn too. Just really nice flavors here, which is exactly what we want. This nice, good, balanced flavor. So I've got this, got some nice color going on. Those peppers are already starting to soften. Got some beautiful color on that chorizo. I'm gonna go ahead and add my corn. Now, if you've ever done corn before, you'll know it can kind of pop at you and stuff when it gets real hot. So beware of that. I imagine that will start to happen here. And we're just gonna we want a little bit of that corn to take on some charring as well, just to help develop some flavor. So I'm just gonna get this on a flat little line and hope that that corn, again, starts to char off a little bit. Yeah, right now it's what I've got. Generally, it would be better to use a plastic spatula, you are correct. But sometimes you have to make do. So I got my scallops here while this corn cooks. And the one thing I think sometimes where people go wrong with scallops is not drying them thoroughly enough. So you want to make sure before you start cooking that everything is nice and really well dried out. I've had these drying pretty well for a while. I've patted them down, but I'm gonna give them another pat as well once I'm ready to cook. So I've got a nice little sherry vinegar here. I'm gonna use this to just kind of deglaze my pan a little bit, get some of that stuff off the bottom. There we go. Again, we got some nice color going on here in that corn. Everything's deepening, getting nice and soft. And this is just a great side dish. You could do this with a lot of different types of fish, for sure. But I really like doing this with scallops. Just creates such a nice flavor dynamic with everything. The sweetness of the scallops, the corn, a little bit of the heat and spiciness from the jalapenos, kind of some rich earthiness from the paprika and the chorizo. We just got a lot of really good things going on here. So again, one of my favorites. And we've got that, and there's that sherry vinegar in there that's basically cooked off. I'm gonna add a little bit of fresh lime juice here. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna add in just a little bit of fresh cilantro. Give it a little bit of an herbal kick to it. Toss that all in together. Yeah, this is very easy, very delicious. Hit it with a little fresh lime and brighten it back up a little bit. Add a little bit of that kind of last minute acidity because we cooked out some of the sherry vinegar, so we want to add a little bit more kind of that freshness back in there. And this is good to go. So I'm going to pull this off the heat and I'm going to swap it with another pan that I'm going to do my scallops in. So I'm going to let this kind of come up to temp. And while that happens, again, I'm going to get my scallops all ready. So I talked about one of the things that you really want to have and make sure is that your scallops are completely dry. So I'm going to give them another pat. Dry packed scallops also help. A lot of the ones you'll find at the grocery store have kind of been treated with things that help them freeze. So if you can find dry packed scallops, that's really the way to go. The wet pack, once they hit hot temperatures, that protein tends to seize up and it pushes out all that extra moisture, and then the scallops tend to steam instead of cook, or instead of sear. And that's what you want to avoid. You don't want to steam the scallops in the pan, you want to sear them. So, I'm starting to get pretty hot here. So I'm going to go ahead and season these scallops with a good amount of salt. Perfect. I'm going to add a little bit of vegetable, or again, I'm going back to my grapeseed oil. Vegetable oil would work, canola oil, anything like that. I'm going to add a bit of this to my pan. Again, not too much, just enough to kind of prevent stickage. I'm going to let this get nice and hot here. We're doing pretty good. So I'll go ahead and use one scallop to kind of test. And that's exactly what you want to hear. And when you're putting scallops in the pan, just like most things, you want to put them in kind of at a clock, going clockwise around the pan so that you can keep track of which one you put in first. That way you can try to make sure that you're cooking everything nice and evenly, at least as much as you possibly can. Now I've got my scallops in and I'm not going to touch them. I'm going to hit them with just a little bit more salt on top. And I'm going to let them kind of cook and do their thing. I'm also going to add a bit of butter to my pan. This is gonna add flavor. It's gonna kind of increase browning, which is nice. I've also, that grapeseed oil is gonna increase the smoke point of that butter, so it should prevent it from burning. Because again, we've got a real hot pan here. I'm just gonna kind of tip this around, let it get underneath those scallops as best as possible. And most of this cooking is gonna be done entirely on the one side. Probably 90% of this cook is gonna be on just one side. And I'm gonna check. We still need a bit to go. And we're trying to get that really nice dark brown crust on these. That's the whole idea. You want that nice kind of restaurant style brown crust. You want to check your scallops. These are browning around the edges a little bit. It's still got a little ways to go. Scallops, one of the easiest things you can cook at home. Because again, this is all we're doing. I'm not going to be moving them around unless I'm just slightly checking, but you can also watch around the edges of the scallop for that browning to start. Let's see this guy here. You can see sort of around those edges that browning is starting already, and that's what you want to look for. You want to pay attention to those edges while not moving them around, moving them all over the place. If you do notice maybe, because sometimes the heat can be uneven, you can move them around a little bit towards the end to try to even out the browning on the top, but otherwise just let them sit and stay and you'll have no problem. If you have cast iron, this would work so much better. Cast iron gets an amazingly beautiful sear on scallops. And you can see that butter is toasting off really, really nicely inside the pan there, which is again exactly what we want. Let's go back to some of my initial scallops. Starting to look pretty good. Oh yeah, there, looking really nice. Let's show you, we're starting to develop a really nice brown crust on there. Again, this is exactly what we're trying to look for here. Whoa, don't do that. That's why, one of the reasons you want to leave them in that pan, that hot fat. Woo. They smell better than they look, I promise. And they look pretty good. So I'm gonna take some of this hot butter and I'm going to start basting the top. This is going to help get the top of the scallop cooking just a little bit. It's also going to impart more of that nice butter flavor into the scallop, which we definitely want. Absolutely beautiful. All right. So I think some of these are about ready. Oh yeah, look at that. Just that nice, rich crust. Which again, is exactly what we're looking for. We're gonna flip these, just let them finish. Again, maybe another minute, and they will be good to go. So when those finish, let's go ahead and get our plate ready. I'm gonna add some of my corn mixture. And right to the center of my plate here. Look at that. Just absolutely beautiful. All those bright, bright colors. All those nice, beautiful flavors. It's gonna go really, really well with these scallops. Which is exactly what we want to have happen. So, these are done. So I'm going to go straight from the pan, straight to my plate. Just absolutely beautiful. And so easy, so fast. Just a nice, perfect little weeknight dinner, weekend dinner. Scallops are awesome because again, they're so easy to cook that you could easily do this for a weeknight meal, yet they're kind of impressive enough and fancy enough to where you could get away with this for a nice weekend dinner party. Let's top it with a little bit more fresh cilantro. And let's hit it with a little fresh lime wedge. And there we go. We've got a very easy, beautiful plate of scallops there. Anybody could do this. You watch me make this in real time. Took, maybe 10 minutes, including the side dish. So it just doesn't get simpler than that. Again, these are on feature all weekend. We've also got some beautiful Alaskan sockeye salmon and all kinds of other fun options. Last weekend, we did a little fundraiser here in Minneapolis where we sold some brats for whatever it was you wanted to donate. So it was donate, get a dog. We're going to be doing the same thing in St. Paul on Saturday. So if you want to come down to St. Paul, grab yourself a brat, please do so. The money's going to go right back into the community. We have several organizations that we've identified. And as a company, we're going to be matching those proceeds. So last weekend in Minneapolis, we made almost $500 in donations, which again will be matched by the company. So we're already working on almost $1,000 donation. So if you want to come down to St. Paul, pick up some scallops like these, get yourself a brat on Saturday. Sounds like a pretty good way to spend an afternoon to me. Otherwise, thank you all again for watching. We always appreciate it. We always have a good time, and we will be back next week with some more fun stuff. Pay attention. If you're not subscribed already, please do so. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, we're all there. Twitter, we're everywhere. This recipe, again, there's a variation of this on the website. Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to do too. I forgot. We've got this awesome balsamic crema that goes really well with this stuff. This is on the recipe on the website. And this is just a really nice way to kind of finish this dish. Here, let's move this lime out of the way for a hot second. And just give a little drizzle of this around the plate. Again, this adds just a little bit of brightness to everything. Helps cut through some of the richness of the scallops. So got that nice balsamic on there, of course. Beautiful, easy. Come down, visit it this weekend. If you come to St. Paul, we'll have brats that we're gonna collect donations on. Otherwise, yeah, follow us online, subscribe to our newsletter if you haven't done that. We've got all kinds of fun recipes that we put in there. We always talk about our weekly features, stuff like that. So thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you make this week, and we will see you back next week. Have fun, stay safe, eat well.